Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Spooky Tuesday in an all-new Curse of Strahd game. Our Waterdeep game has ended, but we have not retired the characters. You can look forward to more adventures from that later on. But for now, we are going to be playing the Curse of Strahd as DM'd by our dear friend Danae Keener. It is also, I would like to point out, I forgot until the very end yesterday, and my players have also wanted to remind me to let you all know today is April 23rd, 2019, and you are loved. It's a very important thing to remember. And for all of you audiocast listeners, like I have said, I am not going to be your dungeon master tonight. Instead, I shall be playing Keffris, the mongrel folk barbarian. What about you, LB?
I am LB, and I will be playing Silme, the sibling to Keffris, and a wizard in hiding.
Hello, I'm Speedy.
You admit to that? and I'm Wings. I'm going to be the DM tonight, also known as Danae Keener.
Yes. And so before I fully hand off the reins, I would also like to remind people we have a giveaway going on. And the giveaway is full of all sorts of really cool stuff. There is going to be the Mythica Sinister Emerald dice set from Die Hard Dice, which look... Oh, I love Die Hard Dice. We got Danae her set for her birthday. RJ and I have both been using them for Monday and Tuesdays. Fantastic dice, but that's not even the best prize you can win. The best prize is going to be the incredible custom spell journal belonging to a sea night feather that you could win through our dear friends from Elderwood Academy. Elderwood Academy does a lot of really neato custom dice boxes. I really like their products, and I'm excited to be able to give something away to a lot of you guys, because that's very important. Mostly because I appreciate you guys, and I don't want to give you bad quality things, so I go extra whenever it comes to giveaways. Also, with that in mind, speaking of going extra, guys, you want to know what the greatest thing ever is? T-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs that can fit entire bottles of soda or beer or whatever it is your drinking preference. It wouldn't be able to fit an Nalgene's worth of stuff, but we're working on maybe looking around Streamlabs to find out if, hey, let's get more awesome stuff in here for everyone, so that way we, you guys can have cool things to keep around. Other than that, though, that is my simple spiel about merch. You can find that at bit.ly/adventure merch. And that's gonna be it for me. So, yeah, I did it. I slapped myself into the next frame. All right, and that is it for me. So, Danae, take it away.
Alrighty. Well, last time we entered Barovia with a pair of siblings, Keffris and Silme Malrezka, along with their maid, Maybell, two sheltered nobles from a strictly religious family who found themselves lost in the mists. There, they met Bartholomew, a native who dourly informed them that there was no escape from these lands. Before long, they entered an accursed dwelling in the middle of the Swallich woods, and with the help of an elven stranger who called himself Victor Grabinikov, they braved the horrors of the Death House. But Victor has since suffered a terrible fate. What is the affliction that beset Keffris once he entered the mists? How long can Silme keep her magics a secret from her brother? And will Bartholomew, who the Malrezkas have dubbed Speedy, ever escape his fate to live and die in these cursed lands forever? Let's find out. But first we have to go back down into the valley, down into the mists, where a house stands alone in the Swallich woods with smoke pouring from its windows. Two women stand in front of it. The smell of blood and smoke are heavy in the air, with the hoofbeats of a departing murderer still clattering down the road. 3 bodies lie around them. 2 are still living. Silme, what do you do?
As soon as he gets far enough away, Silme is gonna get down and check the pulse of Victor to see
There
if
is none. There's blood everywhere, pouring from a gut wound in your red-headed friend's abdomen.
oh gods, he's dead. That man, he killed him. And she's
Looking
gonna
up at your maid, you can see she's just got like two hands over her face, and you can see that she's already swooning from, like, she has fainted at the sight of blood in the past, and she's just kind of like looking anywhere but the body to try and like keep it together.
Yeah, Silme's gonna get up and she's gonna hug Maybell and she's gonna kind of rub her back, like, oh gods, what have we gotten ourselves into? Are the boys all right?
I don't know, miss. I'll go and check. And she will rush off, kind of looking a little relieved to not have to look at the body anymore. She'll go to Keffris first, I believe, and check on him. And she will find, as all of you are, he's covered in wounds and bruises from all of the horrors that you guys faced in the death house. But she'll look up and say, he's still alive, but he looks rough.
Oh, all right.
Were his fingernails this long before?
Something's taken him. He's changed the land. He was like a beast down there. His eyes glazed over and he became primal.
You're telling me he was yelling at the house?
She's gonna go over to her brother and like look and see what else has shifted, check his hands and his teeth, and look him over like a dog.
Right.
I'm passed out.
If
It's
you
fine.
lift his eye, you can lift his eyelid and you'll see that they're like bloodshot. You can tell that like he's gonna wake up with a wicked hangover. You check his fingernails and they're really long and sharp. And as you take his hand, it feels weirdly rough, like more so than like the calluses on a hardworking man. And when you look down, you can see it almost turns your stomach a little bit. He's got horizontal bars going down his fingers all the way onto his palms, and they kind of stick a little bit.
Oh gods. Keffris, and she's gonna try and shake him.
Does it work?
Sure. Yeah, she
All right,
she
cool.
can rouse you. You wake with a splitting headache. The nausea that you were experiencing before is gone, and it's been replaced with this ravenous hunger like you haven't eaten in days. But there's your sister above you.
Hey,
Are you okay?
honestly, no. That was. How did we get out of here?
We
How did I like? Is I'm. Last I remember, I saw you get hurt.
and you can see she's starting to tear up and like just some tears are calling down her face. You something happened to you. You got angry and you got primal and you changed.
You're speaking very quickly. Deep breaths. I do remember getting angry, and that was it.
Keffris, look at your hands.
I don't see what they have to. Oh! And he just kind of curls them up into fists, so that way he doesn't have to look at the palms or the nails. Just
They kind of stick to themselves. And when you look down, you realize that at some point you must have lost your sandals, and your feet are the same way. Just pointy toes and padded feet with those horizontal bars, kind of a feathery texture on your skin.
okay. Okay.
Keffris, something else happened. When we came out, there was a man, and he, and she looks over her shoulder at the body that is laying there.
That's a lot of blood.
He killed Victor. I don't know why. He said he was annoying.
He was, but that was no grounds for murder.
Meanwhile,
where's
Maybelle
Speedy?
is going to be trying to rouse Speedy. And she will eventually sort of put a cold hand on his face and shake him a little bit, and you awaken to the smell of smoke and blood.
Eyes bolt open, head turns to where Keffris was. You see him pull out his crossbow and point.
No, he's fine. He's all right now.
So, hey, Speedy, why don't we just we could put the crossbow down.
Were you bitten?
What?
Bitten?
Bitten? What are you talking about?
By the creature?
I
No.
got eaten, yes, but I don't think I had teeth.
In the woods earlier today, when we were attacked by the wolves, were you bitten?
I was.
You've got a very clear bite mark from a wolf when he jumped on you, and you were fending him off with your forearm.
I mean, those wolves did a little bit of a number on me, yes, but I don't see why that is any cause to raise a crossbow at a person.
In this land, if you are bitten by something afflicted by lycanthropy,
There's no such thing.
I'm sorry. One, afflicted, and two, lycanthropa?
lycanthropy.
It means it's when a human can turn into a beast.
You know, that, no. That wouldn't happen.
Do you know who Rahadin is?
Bless you.
Doth I? I think I doth.
Well, go ahead and roll me a history check to see if you've heard of Rahadin.
And you know how you say, stay dumb, Corey?
I mean,
First roll of the night's a natural one, leaving me at 0.
great. Never heard of him.
He said he came from a manor called Ravenloft.
Oh, you know what that is.
Yeah.
No roll required.
Well, if there's a manor, maybe there's a lord of this land, and he might be willing to help us.
The...
That's the man who killed Victor.
Well, we'll ask politely. I don't know.
Castle Ravenloft is where the demon lives.
All right,
Oh.
hold the fuck on. What?
We talked about this about 2 months ago, but
Look, I've
Refresher.
been under a lot of stress over the last little bit. I don't know if you noticed it, but I have sticky hands now. What?
He's experienced some memory loss.
What do you mean, demon?
are we still calling her Strahd?
You would know Strahd as a man.
Ooh. The demon has lived in these lands for hundreds and hundreds of years. And it comes down from the castle and partakes of the citizens here.
Oh, gross.
Usually makes a meal out of them.
Okay, please. I am a lady. I don't need to hear his exploits.
No, like literally, not sexually.
No, but like, do you have any food on you? To be fair, like, I'm sorry to interrupt your story, but you said meal.
Keffris, there is a man.
I toss
Dead.
I toss a bag of jerky at Keffris.
I just catch it, and I'll look at Silme and just say, when you're on the battlefield, you need to have a cool head about you. That's what Father always told us, right? There is a man down, but we need to think clearly. And right now, my judgment is being clouded by the rumble that I have in my stomach.
I think we need to get away from this house.
Keffris will
As
just
you
nod.
Say that there's a rumble from the house, and as you can hear, some structural damage is happening within. Beams falling as it continues to just go up in flame.
Do I know if it's a full moon right now, or
Right now, well, it's a coin moon, which is basically our Barovia's version of a month. It is waning, I think. I said this about 2 months ago, exactly what phase the moon is in.
it's waning?
But we didn't put that on the stream. So right now I'm going to make an executive decision and say it's a waning coin moon.
I guess we'll see in time if you're truly afflicted.
Speedy, what should we do with this man? With Victor? Did he live in your village?
No, he's an outsider just like you. And Speedy limps over, takes a knee, and starts rummaging in his pockets.
What are you doing?
He has no need for it.
You're robbing a dead man?
You can't rob what's already dead. It's more... What do the scholars say? Archaeology?
Hey, no. We literally had this conversation. I remember this part. You said archaeology was when they've been dead for a long time. This man is steaming. What he needs is a cleanup.
I think we should perhaps load him into the cart and move away from this place.
Is there a graveyard nearby?
The town of Barovia shouldn't be too far away.
Well, let's go there and see if we can give this man a proper burial. Then, maybe then you can wait a couple 20s of years, I don't know, and then call it archaeology. But for right now, leave him alone.
Please.
There's this faint trace of a smirk as he shakes his head. No, you're the one paying. And as he walks by Keffris, he'll slap his shoulder and cast Cure Wounds. I'll use 2 charges, one for me and one for Keffris.
Aww.
What a sweet boy.
To be decided.
Yeah, right.
Son of a bitch. Sorry, Keffris, you heal 11. I heal 4. Oh, that's damage. Hold on.
And I'm down. Oh, shit.
And I'm down again.
Maybelle, would you mind get the carriage ready?
Yes, Miss Silme, of course. And she will rush off to the carriage and calm the horses, who are now pawing at the ground nervously, as they can smell the blood in the air and the smoke. Both those things are very disconcerting for a horse. And who is going to interact with Victor?
I will.
All right, as you kneel down to prepare him for movement, you can see that his eyes are still open, and absent is his regular sort of disconcerting smile. It's been replaced with an expression of shock.
I am going to close the eyes if I can.
You do.
And I'll pick him up and load him into the cart. And then once I'm inside, I have vestments that I typically wear over like a very light shirt. But I am going to be just tearing the vestments apart, essentially. I need new shoes, so I'm going to kind of be making cloth wraps for my feet, and then I'm also going to have some spare fabric out to lay over Victor's face, just so that way he's not... There's a wall of separation for the recent mortality. Reminder
Right.
of mortality, anyways.
He's beginning to grow cold, but he definitely still has some warmth to him.
Yep. Yes, he does.
And then Maybell gets the cart ready to go. Where's everybody going to be riding?
I'll
Driving.
be on the front.
Okay. Then Maybell will, as there's only 2 seats on the front, then Maybell will sit in the back with Keffris.
Silme is very quiet, which is uncommon for her.
I imagine everyone is. So as you start heading down the road, this road becomes gradually less and less muddy, becomes more earthen-packed dirt road. And after about an hour or so of just slowly making your way through the mist, you can see in the distance buildings begin to appear just as you get closer and closer to the town of Barovia. And the packed dirt road gives way to slick cobblestone, as it's not necessarily raining, but the mist seems to be coalescing and sticking to your skin and your clothes and kind of making you wet and making little puddles on the ground. And the town of Barovia is not a very happy place. It's got lots and lots of buildings that are boarded up over the doors and the windows. And by all accounts, it seems abandoned, except for maybe the occasional passerby who keeps their eyes down and their coat pulled up over their face and does not interact with you, does not offer you greeting. And as you make your way into town, Speedy, where are you taking them?
I'm gonna drive us over to the tavern.
All right, so you direct the horses towards the tavern, and as you guys are going down the street, you can hear a distant wail of a woman that gradually gets louder and louder, and that wail just does not break. It's interceded with a few sobs here and there. But as you pass by the building where the wail seems to be coming from, the door will open and a golden light will stream outward across the road. And out will step a man. Now, this man is fairly handsome. Sorry, the face you gave me. He's fairly handsome. He's got long blonde hair, but he's got these tired eyes and kind of a long-suffering expression. He has a sword on his hip and a lantern in his hand. And as he's stepping out, you can hear him saying, "Mary, I'm sorry there's nothing we can do for you at the moment, but please eat. I brought you food. Take the blanket. I will be back to check on you later." And he turns around and notices you guys and will kind of look to Silme and look to Speedy and then look at Silme again and say, You are not from around here, are you?
So I gathered.
And he'll kind of dip his head a little bit respectfully, sort of recognizing that you are dressed like a noble.
Mhm.
And he will say, my name is Ismark. I am the burgomaster of this town. I welcome you. And I also offer my condolences for newly arriving in this cursed place. I see you have a guide already. What is your name, sir?
They call me Speedy.
Ah,
I motion when I motion to the Silme.
He has not
He's-
given us his true name. I'm not certain if that's common for this area.
common for some of us. And he kind of gives Speedy a long look, and then just shakes himself out of it and says, please, you look tired, maybe a bit injured. Come into the inn. I will treat you to some wine.
We have there has been a death on the road, and we have a she kind of pauses for a moment, a body to put to rest.
He gives you a look that definitely betrays some commisery. And he will say, well, that is quite the coincidence, because I do as well. Perhaps after some time in the tavern, you can come with me. I also have a body to bury, so we could go together.
Sure. That would be preferable.
Come. I will show you to the blood of the vine.
Thank you.
And he will just start walking off in a direction. Speedy, you recognize he's going into the direction of the tavern. And when you arrive there, you see there is a sign sitting on like one of those swingy boys. It's a swingy sign. And sure enough, it says blood of the vine on it. But at some point, somebody has taken a knife and X'd out of and gouged in on. So it says blood on the vine instead. And he will wait until the horses are parked, as it were, and offer his hand to let Silme down.
She will accept it. This is acceptable. Keffris, we've arrived. My brother.
And I'll get out of the back, and when I do, I'll offer my hand to Maribel to let her down as well. But during the ride that we've taken to get here, I have torn most of the vestments off, so now it's more like a little half coat that comes up to maybe like mid rib cage, but my feet are bandaged up in what looked like almost monk wraps, and same with my hands. Mostly because I figured that if I grabbed something, if my hands were sticking to themselves, I would want to be able to easier interact with things and not have my hands stick to every surface like the beginning of a Spider-Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just have kind of hand wraps. My fingers are still very much open, but palms and on my feet are also covered.
Right, and as with like, you know, like something new on your skin, or like say like if you lost a tooth, you kind of worry at it with your tongue. You become more familiar with these newfound pads on your fingers, and you start to realize that if you flex them the right way, you can make them stickier, and if you relax them, you can get them to release.
Oh, okay. All right.
And likewise, Maybelle would have taken off her apron and used it to cover Victor's wound, because she was having a real hard time looking at that. And Ismark will introduce himself to you. Did he introduce himself as Ismark? No, he
Yes.
said
Yeah.
he's the burgomaster.
He said his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
He said his name? All right.
Yes.
So he'll introduce himself again to Keffris now that he's officially met him, and then lead you guys into the tavern. And this tavern is a slightly less dour place than the rest of the town. There's at least a fire in the fireplace that offers some small comfort in this cold, misty area. Sitting at a round table, there are 3 brightly clothed women, and they're all just kind of like sitting together with their heads leaning towards one another, like almost in like a cat-like fashion, just kind of lounging across the table, and they all give you a side eye as you walk in. The Tavern Keeper is standing behind the bar, and he's just slowly cleaning a glass and looking down, and he does not acknowledge your presence.
You said you were the burgomaster. You are the head of the town, correct?
Yes, I am now.
Now?
My father, he's the one who died.
Oh, my apologies. I'm so sorry for your loss.
I'm sorry for yours as well.
Yes, well, we had only met the man briefly.
The roads of Barovia can be very dangerous. And he'll just kind of stand there awkwardly, like not knowing what to do with his hands.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the girls in the corner kind of like whisper to each other and smile and laugh at him. And I'd like you, Silme, to make a perception check.
Okay. +3, 19.
Ooh, nice. You very clearly hear one of them say to another, Ismark the Lesser.
Oh, what bitches. Silme will not say that. She will say, it seems that people in this town are quite forward with their opinions.
Oof. They give you an eye. Like, they don't stop smiling, but like they definitely like lower their heads and go like, oh, okay. And Ismark will finally break the tension and walk away to go and order you guys some wine, and then bring it back and place it at a table and offer seats to all of you. Get a pitcher and 4 glasses, because there's 5 glasses, because there's 5 of us, including Maybell.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh. Silme takes off her gloves and places them on her lap and tries to do something normal.
Keffris will happily take this wine, and he as well just says, is there a chance that there's any food? I'm really sorry to ask, but I can pay. I have good coin.
Oh. No need. I'll take care of it.
Thank you.
He goes, Arik. And the barkeep is like, He's like, bring us some grilled sausage. And he goes, and like stands there for a second and then turns away. And then you can hear pots and pans starting to clank around.
Thank you so much. And I'll just begin sipping on the wine that has been put in front of me.
What sort of coin do you take here? I assume gold is good, but I guess I don't know.
The official coinage of the land is electrum, for the most part.
Right.
Silver is good. We very rarely ever see gold, but outsiders actually come in here fairly often. We will take their coinage, but not all of us. Not all of us will.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Bildrath over at Bildrath Mercantile, he will take any money you have to offer, but his goods are overpriced.
Speedy like rolls his eyes.
I feel like we are taking your time away in your mourning. We can make our own way. We have a guide. I don't wish to keep you away from your duties.
I was actually hoping if you could help me with my duties.
Oh?
He will look to Keffris and be like, "This is your sister, yes?"
Yes.
I too have a sister, and she's in grave danger.
Oh,
Well, an adopted sister, but still,
it's
we
family
have
nonetheless.
lived to... Exactly, we've lived together all of our lives. Well, he kind of lowers his voice a little and speaks conspiratorially to you. She has been beset by the devil.
Which one?
I am...
The devil, the one that curses us, that looms above us, this whole land.
You know, the more I hear about this guy, the less I like him.
Oh, the demon.
Yeah, the demon guy that Speedy was telling us about.
Well, demons and devils are different things, brother.
What? No, don't be ridiculous. They're both
Of course they are.
doing the thing that's... Look, I went to book college, okay? We've been through this.
Right. Apologies. Continue.
And I would like to tell you more, but his eyes are everywhere. And he kind of like quirks an eyebrow at those ladies in the corner.
Just set my mug down. Now, when you mean everywhere, like those older women, those are he.
He nods slowly, quietly, and he kind of looks at Speedy and says, "You've not told them of the Vistani?"
I've made mention of the Vistani.
Please, fill us in more. We were a bit occupied.
And Arik, the barkeep, will appear behind you, like almost out of nowhere, and just clang down a plate full of grilled sausages. And then he'll turn around and go back to the bar and start cleaning the same glass that he had before. Then he puts it down next to a row of a bunch of clean glasses, walks to the end of the row, and then picks up a clean glass and starts cleaning it again.
Keffris sees no problem with this.
You will have to forgive him. He is soulless. He has no spark of life.
I'm so sorry for having to be that guy, but I'm sorry, what?
There are not enough souls to go around in Barovia. Babies are still born, but there is no soul to fill it. First, make an insight check.
Oh, very
How does that work?
Speedy will turn to Silme and go,
First roll of the night, and I am the opposite of RJ. I got myself a natural 20.
Oh, nice. You definitely catch a very subtle glance. It's a fraction of a second, but Ismark's eyes go directly to Speedy and then back again.
No, I mean, everybody has a soul. My dog, Spaghetti. Spaghetti has a soul. Lots of things have souls.
Everybody deserves a soul, but there are many things in Barovia that we do not get.
No, but like a soul is like part of the whole deal. Right? Like you're created into existence only to suffer, and then through your suffering you find your sense of self, and then through that sense of self you have self-actualization of having that spirit, of having that soul.
If you came here to suffer, I believe you will find exactly what you were looking for.
Speedy again? Oh, sorry.
No one sets out to suffer. They set out to learn, and then the lessons along the way can be rougher than others. But I don't think that people were just born here specifically for the purpose of suffering. Who would do that?
The devil. And he'll just take a drink from his wine and drain it, clunk it down. I believe we have some bodies to bury.
I'm sorry. How many people are there in this land? How many souls? What's the limit?
Well, it's been a while since I've received a census from Vallaki, but I don't know. Speedy, how many would you say are living there? Like 500.
Oh, for Vallaki?
Yeah.
About 500.
There are around 80 souls. Well, 80 people in this village.
80 out of 500?
Oh, well, there is more aside from the village of Barovia and Vallaki. There is also Krezik, and, well, there used to be a town south of Vallaki, but that has since been destroyed in a flood.
Right. How? So when somebody dies and they have a soul, I'm just trying to grasp this.
When someone dies here in Barovia and they have a soul, that soul finds its way into a newborn.
Right. Okay. So it's just the same souls that are being refreshed. Fascinating. Terrifying, but fascinating.
There is no escape from Barovia, not even death. We are trapped here. You are trapped here.
Yes, as I've been told a couple times. Still sinking in.
I know this is not quite the time, but my payment?
Right. Oh, yes, of course. Is that something that should be done in such a public place? Oh, all right. I don't remember how much we said we'd pay him, but I can look it up. I believe it was like 3 gold.
Oh, woof.
I also remember you hiring a man and me saying that I had no money, so whatever it is you decided to be, sister.
I found Gwen's notes. They're 2 pages long.
I don't know if we ever actually put a number to it. I think
so.
you just said that you would pay him.
All right, I will give him 2 gold.
And if that doesn't sound right, you can always roll a deception check.
Yes. I hand
Wipes it off the table.
Right.
And he stands up and walks out.
Oh, wait, but the body.
You stay.
Me?
No, all of you.
Oh,
I'll be back in 15 minutes.
right.
Did you say 15 or 50?
15.
Ah, thank you. It's hard of hearing a little bit in this ear.
So this demon you speak of, is it impolite to speak of him here?
Perhaps.
Right. Why don't you tell me?
Will have much more to say about him.
I see. Well, why don't you tell me more of your customs, so we don't make any faux pas while we're here? Silme's priorities.
And at that moment, the door will shut behind Speedy, and he will lean in and say, "How long have you known him?"
An
Your guide.
afternoon?
We were
I
out on
would be very careful around him. It takes a discerning eye, but I suspect that he too may be one of the soulless. Have you ever seen him laugh? Have you ever seen him cry? Someone died, yes?
Yes, but someone he did not know as well.
But his reaction was...
was the same as when he sank a crossbow bolt into a wolf, but
I thought he was just quirky.
yeah, he seemed like he seemed business oriented, which was a plus. And what? So
How do you know?
Don't get me wrong. They can be capable of great good, but there is no empathy. You probably cannot trust him to put himself in danger to save your life.
Oh, well, if that's all, I mean, that's most of the High Court. To be honest. Sorry.
she's got a point.
I just wanted you to be aware.
Thank you. You're very kind for spending so much time with us.
Well, I still believe that kindness can survive even in as dark a place as this. It will take a lot of suffering, but I hope that one day we can thrive. And with that, let's cut away to Speedy.
Speedy's gonna head over to the general store really quickly.
Alrighty.
Shopping.
You go literally across the street to Bildrath's Mercantile. The sparse light of this building spills out from behind drawn heavy curtains. And as you enter, you can see Bildrath himself sitting behind the desk. He's surrounded by a large number of weaponry and equipment for surviving out in the wild. Bear traps, arrows, crossbow bolts. He has a gigantic silver axe that's kind of like his pride and joy that hangs over his head. And Bildrath is kind of a slimy man. He's really skinny and kind of hunched. And he's got like this greasy goatee that he's constantly just putting his fingers through. And he's like, "Oh, it's Mr. No Name again."
40 crossbow bolts.
He throws them down on the table. And how many? I should have known this. How much are crossbow bolts worth?
1 per 20? 1 per 20.
1 per 20? He goes, 4 gold. Or 8 electrum. I'm sure you can do math.
It just sounds wrong. It all feels wrong.
That conversion's so weird. And I need
Welcome to Barovia.
3 sets of traveling clothes, 2 women, 1 man.
Alright. Traveling clothes. How much are those worth?
With D&D Beyond, we can check quickly if it ever loads.
Hey. You said 3 sets of traveling clothes?
And 2, yeah, they're 2 gold apiece.
Bildrath may be able to do math, but Danae doesn't. 12
gold.
electrum.
He, like, sighs, rubs, like, the bridge of his nose. 20 crossbow bolts and the traveling clothes, then.
Well, if you really wanted it, you'd fork up the cash for it. And he takes the bundle of 20 crossbow bolts off of the table and throws down some traveling clothes for you.
Oh, he said 40, so he's gonna half the amount. So 20
Right.
and the... Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
there's two bundles of 20 that he laid down, and he took one away.
Okay. I am cool. I'm cool. I'm cool, guys. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Grabs it, nods his head, walks away.
Fucking creepy. And as you are walking out the door, you can see in the doorway, you didn't notice that the doorway was there before because like there should be some modicum of light coming through it. But you can see out of the corner of your eye the reason why you didn't notice this doorway before is because it is filled with the hulking mass of this gigantic man who's just got his shoulders like filling the doorway. And he just waves as you say good as you peace on out of there.
Yeah. No wave back, just walks.
All right. Back to Keffris and Silme.
I've eaten my food, I've had my drink, and probably a little bit more, if possible. Mostly because I'm nursing a headache, which needs to go away post-hastily.
Yeah. And on top of that, your skin kind of itches. On your forearms, kind of up on your shoulders, and especially on your back, like right between the shoulder blades where you can't really reach.
Oh my God.
And if you scratch too hard, you realize that your nails are kind of too sharp, and like it would be very easy to break the skin.
I'm gonna start like doing like a side scrape on it, so that way it's not a direct peel, but just kind of like under the table if possible, just kind of idly doing it. I'm also going to be with the red cords that are along my arms. I'm just going to kind of be like tightening them intermittently in a hopes that maybe the brief bit of pain I'm getting from those is causing an override with the scratching sensation.
Which is exactly how scratching works. So yes, that does help a little.
Silme will smack his hand every once in a while if she sees him itching.
That's rude. Don't be doing that.
It's really itchy though.
Maybelle has not touched her wine at all. So she will surreptitiously kind of push her full glass over to Keffris at some point when she realizes it's empty.
And
she has not said a word through this entire exchange, just kind of like stared doe-eyed from person to person.
Mm-hmm. So, if we are to stay here for a while, is there... we didn't bring enough gold to buy a house or anything like that.
I would not recommend staying in the village of Barovia if what you're looking for is safety.
Aren't you the leader? That's not a whole lot of confidence I'm getting here. What?
He looks like a kicked puppy.
Oh.
We are trying. There is a lot to deal with right now.
Oh.
My father, he sent a letter not long ago. I assume that it did not make it outside.
A letter?
Outside the city?
The mists. Well, I didn't think it would work, but it was intended to warn people, to get them to turn back as the mist surrounded them and not share in our fate. Barovia is hungry for souls. It has a tendency to lure people in. We see many outsiders come here, and not many of them survive.
Why? Why do the outsiders not survive?
Minions of Strahd, those among us who have given in to their baser desires. Wolves, werewolves.
Right.
So the werewolves are real then?
Here at least. What, are they not real outside?
I don't know anymore. How do you know if you've seen one? Because we did run into some wolves in the woods. We were able to defend ourselves.
You would know if you saw a werewolf.
Good.
But it is a waning moon now, so you will have to wait until the next full moon to know for sure.
See, you're the second person to say that to me, and I really don't like the way that it keeps being brought up. I had a thing happen while we were on the road, and I'll kind of lift up my sleeve a little bit to show the wolf bite that's on my arm.
Ah. Well, I have not seen it happen myself. I have heard nothing but rumors. But I would be concerned if silver becomes agitating.
Okay. Silver, got it. Any other general warnings?
I would be cautious around the full moon.
When we left, what was the moon cycle?
Where you were?
Yeah, in the Dale Lands.
Well, you didn't know it as a coin moon, but it was waning. Closer, it was getting towards the later end of the harvest season.
Yeah. So it's the same. It seems to be on the same cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, if you don't think we should stay here, where should we go?
My sister will be going to Vallaki very soon.
Vallaki.
I was actually hoping I could hire your guide to take her as well.
Well, he is...
Vallaki has walls. I hope one day that my town can be as safe as Vallaki.
Walls do seem like a plus.
Pretty much every able-bodied man is like your guide. They hunt wolves for a living. They feast on wolves.
Keffris had wolf jerky.
That's fine. He was really hungry.
And at this moment, Speedy can come in. Door slams open.
Yeah, he walks over to the table, drops the clothes on a clear spot, change.
Like,
what?
Right here?
Strip. Sorry.
You want to be a star, don't you? Take it off.
Oh, man.
Is there like a changing station or a general rest area? Right here, where...
You could change in the cottage.
Okay, I don't know if you've noticed, but I am wearing a structure under this dress. It's very hard to get in and out of. Perhaps if there's a...
Oh, I'll help you, Miss Silme.
Oh, thank you. For a second, I thought you were still the dude. I was like, this isn't Gwen.
Ismark is not that smooth.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
All right. Well, you know, if we are to stay here longer, brother, we did bring supplies that we might be able to sell.
That's true. That is very
Don't
true.
sell them here. Store
No?
owner's an asshole.
Wow, that was very kind of you to mention.
That was. That...
Mark is just kind of folding his fingers in front of him, and he looks at you guys and shrugs.
All right. Well, if you don't mind, I will change first, and then we'll be right back. Mabel?
Yes, Miss Silby. She'll pick up the clothes for you and walk out the door.
She just gives her a look.
She gives you a corresponding look. That I'm sure these are looks that have been traded several times before.
Yes.
And they'll go ahead and get changed in the carriage. It takes a little interesting maneuvering with the hoop skirt. But between the two of you, you're able to finagle something.
Victor's still there.
With the hoop skirt and the dead body.
No. Wait,
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm not so sure about the changing in the cart.
His face, there is definitely a moment where, like, Maybell opens up the cart and both of you go, oh.
Close it.
Oh. I think that the two of you can find an abandoned house with some boarded up windows that you can slip into.
Sure.
You see some rats scurrying in the darkness. And it's a little uncomfortable, but it's better than a dead body.
That it is. Yes, and that takes a good 20 minutes to get me out of my
Just
Basically like full plate. Yeah.
yeah, donning and doffing.
Worn a hoop skirt. Come
Between
on.
the two of them, it takes like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So Keffris, you're able to have like another round of food brought to you. We'll say this time it's like it's kind of like a weird like oatmeal made out of like a corn mush, and Ismark calls it Malrezka.
I'm sure he does. Whatever it
But
is.
it's very hearty. It's very it's filling. You kind of have to add a little salt to it, otherwise it's a little bland.
That's fair. I'll go to town on it because I don't really know what else to do. And then, so it's myself, Ismark, and Speedy all at this table. And I will take this opportunity to look towards Speedy, and I have a mouth partially with some food in it. Just so, Speedy. Sorry. We were planning on going to the town of Valaki.
Some people pronounce it differently.
We were planning on going there with our new friend, Mr. Ismark here. He was planning on he wanted to hire you as a guide.
My sister, actually. I will not be able to come. I have many duties here.
So, what do you say? Honestly, I don't think we would have made it this far without you being there to, well, do the thing that you do. Would you?
I will pay you up front.
The coin is good.
Please say the
She
coin
can
is
take care
good.
of herself on the road.
She is very capable.
Good. I already have to look after 2 pups.
I'm capable
Aww.
of, you know what? It's going to be fine. Don't worry about me. So that's good. Is there, why your sister? You said that she was from out of town and the devil took upon her. Why?
He is taking a liking to her.
Is there more than that? Like, did they used
There
to
are
be...
times when the devil will come down and he will take one of us as a bride.
am so sorry. And in the cases where that does happen, is there a protocol? Is there a standard way that he does this? Is it different every time? Is there a way that we would know how to fight back?
It has
He tried.
taken longer with her. Usually it is one night, but evidently he came to her and spoke to her. You will have to ask her. She has only spoken to my father about this, and he is now dead.
Yes.
I do not want to hear of it.
I will be sure.
It pains me to hear her in such anguish.
I am so sorry for what has befallen on your family, and my honor as a Malrezka on the line. I will see to it that nothing bad happens to your sister.
You are very kind.
As are you. We are strangers in this land, and you've both fed us and given us a drink. You've given us a job, in a sense, and you've been kind. Even if we are having to bury people together, at least it's together as allies.
I feel great brotherhood with you.
Thank you.
And he will put out his hand and kind of take yours. And
I'll take his
you
hand
guys do
too.
like that. You guys do that cool like Roman salute where you take each other's forearms and just kind of hold it for a second.
Yeah, with my long claws and gecko hands, I'll totally do that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and he's taking your forearm, which is covered in these red cords, which are digging into your skin, and there's definitely like crusted blood and stuff on there. So his eyes betray a little bit of discomfort about that, but he seems earnest. And Speedy is just kind of watching this happen.
Drinking some wine.
Yep. And I'll say that, Silme, do you want to have any sort of exchange with Maybell?
Oh, yes, we do. Just a quick chat, and then she's just like, I'm so sorry that you're in this mess with us.
Miss Silme, you know I'd follow you to the ends of the earth.
I know, but
I wouldn't want you here without me.
And I wouldn't want to be here without you. So, but if we can get out of this mess, I will see it done.
I'm sure we can come up with something together.
Of course.
Speaking of which,
Yes.
in this land, don't you think maybe it wouldn't be too terrible to let your brother know?
Oh, there are so many things brother doesn't know, Maybell. Which one are you speaking of?
Oh, I'm talking about the part that will actually help us when wolves attack us on the road.
Ah, the magic. Yes, I feel like there's been a lot going on today, but perhaps tomorrow? She looks very like, oh.
She just kind of like looks off to the side and, well, I'm just saying, everyone's lives are probably going to be in danger again, and
Right.
well, it probably would be worse for one of us to die rather than let your brother know that you're casting a few spells here and there.
Right. Just years of lying is kind of a big thing for him to take in. All right. Well, tomorrow morning, I promise. And she takes her hands. I promise I will do it tomorrow morning.
Okay, tomorrow morning then.
Is that all
And
I
she
need to tell him?
She looks just as. Oh yes, that is all you need to tell him for sure.
All right. Good.
And she touches her her little frilly maid's headscarf,
Yeah.
like really surreptitiously, and just kind of like stares off into the distance. Yes, that's really all you should tell him.
Oh my God. Are you sure you don't have to wear your outfit outside of the home?
Oh, it makes me comfortable, miss.
All right. Well, you know how I feel about it, so that's fine. All right.
She just shrugs.
All right, we both get changed.
Yep, they do that. And this is how we do it. And we can abstract the rest of this changing process. Silme and Maybelle will come back and hang out with Ismark as Speedy, and Keffris go and get changed as well.
Oh, I'm already in my clothes,
Yeah,
so.
no, he only got
Oh,
clothes for me,
sorry.
so I'm just gonna go and
Sorry,
change in the cart by myself.
With the
I'm just trying to include you, sugar. So Keffris can go and get changed as well, which I imagine takes much less time than it did for Silme. And before you guys know it, you're on your way. You're on the road again, and Ismark is leading the carriage down to the Burgomaster's mansion.
I was actually gonna have
Which-
a moment with Vic.
Oh, feel free.
Yeah.
Feel free.
No, like-
What's
It's while I was changing was the kind of thing, because like I just
Oh.
assumed that
So you did it in the carriage.
I just thought that was the thing. It's like, nobody told me like, hey, we broke into an abandoned building and changed him there. So
You open up the door and there's Vic.
yeah, and I mean, I've been in the temple a while. This isn't the first body that I've seen. And I am going to go inside. I'm going to take off the face cover that was on it, so that way I can kind of look at him, and I'll just sit there and stare for a little bit, and say, just very heartfelt, thank you. I'm sorry I didn't get to tell you while you were alive, but thank you. Your attitude when we were in the house was a little childish at most, but it certainly helped. It helped me when I didn't really else know what was going on, and I'm sorry. And at that, Keffris will just kind of like put his hand on the side of Vic's face, and just with a gentle tap, and just I'm sorry. And if Vic has any coinage on him, I will pull out 2 pieces of coin that are of equivocal value, place them over his eyes, put the sheet back over that I had placed on his face, and say a prayer to Ilmater, in the hopes that hopefully Vic's soul isn't trapped in this godforsaken place, and that maybe he can find rest. And then after that, I will proceed to get changed and then hop back out.
All right, you do that. Did Speedy actually manage to loot the body?
Mm-mm.
I don't
Yeah,
think
stopped.
I never quoted any money to you, so yeah, he's able to do that. And then everybody gets on the carriage again, probably same setup as before. Speedy and Silme in the front, Keffris in the back with Vic.
I'm gonna walk,
And
if that's
you're gonna walk.
yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
walk alongside the carriage.
Yeah, that's fine. Ismark is walking too, so You guys are super bosom buddies brosifs now. So he kind of talks as jovially as a Barovian can with you, and he like points out certain houses to you, and he's all like, "Oh yes, that is where Mad Mary lives. Her daughter has been gone for about a week now. She screams day and night over her. Oh, and there's and like he like tells you where everybody lives and like all the terrible things that have happened to them. It's just the town gossip."
And nobody questions where the daughter went?
Oh, well, we all have a pretty good idea where the daughter went. The devil took her.
Wait, so hold up. He's after your sister and he's already taken somebody else earlier this week?
He has many brides.
Oh, that's
He's
great.
Insatiable.
And I'll kind of like look towards the cart where my sister is on the front half driving, and I'll turn back to Ismark and just, is it anyone that he puts his eyes towards, or is there a pattern?
It does not seem so. I have seen both young and old. Sometimes men.
Oh. Huh. Well, and just that's kind of like where Keffris is just like mentally hitting that barrier and just can't get past that.
It's a roadblock.
Yeah, just mental roadblock.
Trying to get his head around that, and it's not computing.
No, and that's where he's going to be at for the majority of this walk. But really, huh? And
Maybelle is actually walking behind you guys too, because she doesn't want to be in the cart alone with the dead body. And like you can like look over your shoulder at some point, and her face is beet red talking about this conversation, or just listening into this conversation.
I'll take the opportunity to walk back to her, and I'll put one of my weirdly clawed hands on her shoulder, and just look at her, and with as much earnestness as I can, just deep breaths. It's going to be fine.
She like full on, you feel her shoulders rise.
Mm-hmm.
It's very tense, and then they drop again.
I'm not going to let anything happen to you either, okay?
Oh, but don't let anything happen to Miss Silme, please.
No, the both of you are... You're all that I have from what we were before this house and this land. You're both going to be my anchor. I mean that.
And she'll kind of like take your hand like a little bit desperately, and hold it there and just be like, "Well, you'll be our anchor too, for sure."
And he'll smile to himself as she takes his hand, but
she'll hold on to it for a little bit too long and then let go. And at that moment, you will reach the southernmost part of town, where the burgomaster's house is.
Yeah. Do we want that to be our first break?
That is probably a great place to have our first break.
Yeah, so I would like to say, first and foremost, thank you, Danae, for running this. This is spooky as shit. Like, I have played Curse of Strahd to a point before, and I'm still just like, oh, I don't like this. Yeah, Electrum, get that out of here. Like, that's the spookiest thing. It's just Electrum pieces. I want nothing to do with it. But thank you so much for running this, and thank you to everybody who has decided to stop on by and join us for this Spooky Tuesday. We're going to try and be back in 5 to 10 minutes, where we are going to be getting back up to our old shenanigans, so don't go no place, and we will see you guys shortly. All right, everybody. And welcome back, everybody, to a spooky Tuesday. First thing I would like to say before we transition back is that, hey guys, we've got a giveaway. So if you are listening to the audio cast, you can check out the Twitter or go to gleam.io/competition/ there's a lot of stuff. It's honestly just easier if you check it out on Twitter or are a member of our Discord community or any of those wonderful places that you can possibly find out, or watch us live on Tuesdays, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And with that in mind, that's all I got.
Alrighty. So I was saying that your guys were going southward down a large street in the village of Barovia. And just as the burgomaster's house comes into view, everybody can hear the distant sound of small, squeaky wooden wheels rolling across the damp cobbles. And you kind of trace that sound over to a hunched figure bundled in rags. And she's just pushing this rickety cart through the fog. And then you see her approach a house and knock on the door. And this seems to be like a fairly older woman. She's got sandals on her knobbly, gout-infested feet. And she's just got like a shawl over her face. And you see her kind of argue with the residents of this house. And then she pushes inside, and you see her come out with a struggling child. And she just throws him in a sack and puts it on the cart. And then she just starts wheeling it down the street as the parents just sort of no from the doorstep, but not following or doing anything to stop her.
Well, I'm gonna just beeline over in front of this cart and like, whoa there, whoa. Look back to see if anybody had followed.
Classy Ismark. I just rolled a nat 1 for Ismark to notice that, so he's still walking towards his house and has completely not noticed you peeling off.
Eh? What would you like, dear?
That's not okay.
Ooh, an outsider from these lands. Would you like a pastry?
No, you can't just grab children and throw them inside of bags away from their parents. You can't. You don't just do that.
She ignores what you're saying, and she pulls out a little wax paper wrapped parcel, and she will kind of just peel back the paper and hold it to you, and you can see a glistening crust of a little hand pastry underneath. And it's still warm, and it wafts this delicious scent towards you. And she's like, "The first one's free."
I will look at her, and the shittier 5-year-old me, growing up in a noble family, knew this act very well. But I just slap it out of her hand directly onto the ground, and I say, "No, children in bags. Bad. Release the child."
She holds her hand surreptitiously, just like,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I literally saw you put a child in a bag. Don't bullshit me, old man. I'm done with this. Release the child.
It's literally wiggling in the wagon. The wagon is just shifting back and forth.
I'm gonna go over and just open it. I'm gonna release this child.
Silme hops down.
All right. Inside the bag, you see like a little boy. He can't be older than 7, and he's got like this really wild, disheveled hair, and he will scramble out of the bag and kind of flop down onto the wet cobblestone. And then like he looks wildly over his shoulder and then just bolts down the street.
What is going on here?
How dare you! My private property?
That's not property, that's a child!
It's a human being!
Same old, same old. It was a payment.
For what?
Equal trade for goods.
What What are you selling that earns you children?
The pastries, my boy. The pastries.
What? Oh,
I mean,
God.
a human child goes for at least 1,000 gold. I don't know what sort of
And I'm
pastries you're
even
selling.
more aghast over at my sister.
I'm sorry, I read a lot. I'm very
How
bored
is
in the
Speedy
house.
reacting to this, if at all?
He's leaning on like the railing of the cart, just watching.
Just waiting for it to end.
Yeah. He's like, he has like his crossbow in one hand, and it's just like.
This old woman looks really perturbed with you, and she starts shaking a knobbly finger in your face.
You're going to regret this day. I'll see to it.
Yeah, if it comes down to regretting a single day and freeing a child for the rest of their life, I'll take freeing the child, thank you very much.
How much do they owe you?
She will grab her cart and say, "That's none of your business," and then she'll turn it bodily around and start hobbling down the street again with the little squeaky wheels, like giving you occasional like glances over the shoulder.
Gwen says, "It's my business now, bitch." Well, what was this?
What do you mean, what was this? You saw what this
Speedy!
was!
What is this? Is this okay?
How
Are
is
people
this
just
a thing?
treating other people here?
Why is this okay?
You should ask the burgomaster. He.
Mr.
knows more about
Burgers,
this.
why is this a thing?
Ismark finally realizes that the cart is no longer following him, and he will jog back with his lantern in hand and be like, "Is everything all right? What happened?"
No, it's not alright. There was a woman selling pastries and grabbing children out of homes. So we stopped her.
I'd never heard of this before.
It happened
I know
in Is this daylight? Is this darkness?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure,
I'm
brother.
genuinely not sure, but it happened in the broad, whatever this is.
It isn't quite night yet, if that's what you're asking.
Okay,
but
so daylight then.
I was aware that there was a pastry seller in town, but I heard nothing of taking children.
She said it was in payment.
I didn't even have to, stress her at all. She just came out with it and said, I'm doing this because they didn't cough up the money for my pies. I didn't even have to, flex my muscles or show her my weird hands, whatever it is going on here. Nothing. She just said it. Are you talking to your citizenry?
I am daily. No one told me about children being missing.
And did you
Keffris,
not notice
please.
the missing children?
Keff, please.
Look.
Take a lap. Take a lap.
For one,
Just
That's
start
ridiculous.
jogging around the cart.
a child is worth at least 1,000 gold.
Thank you.
Just stops. What?
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying there is a price, and that is it.
Jumping
Ismark,
jacks.
who is already kind of on the defense here, and sort of stuttering back and forth to Silme and Keffris, at Speedy saying that, he will just stop and point, like,
But why would they owe that much money? And why would they? These are pastries, yes? I mean, unless they bought. I mean, even if they bought where they sell the pastries.
This is troubling, to be sure. I assure you that she will not be welcome in my town anymore. If I
Thank
see
you.
her, she's going to be turned away.
Right. Perfect. Should we speak to
Children
the
are
family?
not an approved method of currency in the village of Barovia, and I will put my foot down on that. And
Yeah,
as he
but
does so,
Electrum
his foot goes into the pastry on the ground.
Oh.
and he looks a little sheepish and kind of wipes his boot on the cobble.
Let us proceed.
Should we speak to this family?
Ismark looks like a little trepidatious, and he says,
All right, I will take care of it. Wait at the carriage.
Oh.
and he will walk up to the house and kind of knock on the door, and you can see him talking with the people, and they will not meet his gaze. They seem ashamed of what has happened.
I fucking hope so.
And that takes a few minutes for him to talk to them. He comes back, his lantern kind of bobbing through the fog. And as everyone reaches the carriage, I would like, I'll say Speedy to make a perception check.
Oh, the dice gods giveth, the dice gods take it away. That's a natural 20.
Woo!
Nice. All right. Well, isn't it great that all of my story beats are met with natural 20s? As you start clicking at the horses and the carriage pulls away, you take one last look over your shoulder, and you can see that as soon as the parents of this child think that you guys are kind of out of earshot, they will sprint down into the street and start scooping that pastry up into the paper and like hunch over and like start scooping it into their mouths.
Speedy just shakes his head, ushers on.
All right. And you were only a few hundred feet from the burgomaster's mansion when this occurred. And now looking at it, you can see it's a weary looking building that squats behind a rusting iron fence. The iron gates are twisted and torn. The right gate just lies cast aside, while the left one is swinging lazily in the wind. The stuttering squeal and clang of the gate repeats with a mindless precision. Weeds choke out the ground and press with menace upon the house itself, yet against the walls the growth has been tramped down to create a path all about the domain. Heavy claw markings have stripped the once beautiful finish of the walls. Great black marks tell of fires that have assailed the mansion. Not a pane or shard of glass stands in any window. All the windows are barred with planks, and each one is marked with stains of evil omen. At this, Ismark will help Silme down from the carriage and open the door and let Maybelle down as well. No, actually, Maybelle was walking. He will.
No one was inside that carriage.
You'll go up to the door and knock with like a very precise knock, as though it was something rehearsed. And you hear a voice from inside say, "Ismark, is that you?" And he says, "Yes, Arina, I have brought outsiders. They can help." And the door opens just a crack. And you can see, as she sees that it is in fact Ismark, she will pull the chain that is holding the door shut and open it all the way. And what you see before you is a fairly good-looking woman. She's got long auburn hair. And she is wearing full-on plate mail. She's got a scarf around her neck, kind of pulled as tight as it can go. And she has a sword at her side. And this armor is just like engraved with really nice swirling filigree and stuff. And she will kind of like look at each one of you and say, "Are you sure they can be trusted?" And Ismark says, "They are very kind people. I believe they can help us." And the two of them will usher you into the house.
Real quick, DM, do I recognize the scratch marks on the walls?
This is... Well, give me a survival check.
Where'd my D20 go? 15.
15?
15.
Well, wolves, but something greater than wolves.
As they walk in, Speedy will run his hand along one of the scratch marks.
It's a very quaint little house. Mansion. Sorry, does the manor have a name?
It does not.
Oh.
It is our home. It's just the burgomaster's mansion. He
Right.
shrugs and kind of looks at Irina. And looking at Irina, she's got like darker skin. Seeing the two of them standing together, they look nothing alike. Like there is no resemblance between the two of them.
Well,
the interior.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm called Silme, and this is my brother Keffris, and this is our guide. We've been calling him Speedy.
Irina kind of quirks an eyebrow at that.
Sorry, and this is Maybell.
Maybell waves and then hides behind Speedy. The interior of the mansion is well furnished, yet the fixtures show signs of great wear. Noticeable oddities are the boarded up windows in every room and the presence of holy symbols in every room, just on every surface, every wall. They're just everywhere. Irina will welcome you deeper into the house, and she's like, "They are going to help us bury father, yes?" And Ismark nods solemnly, and she will open the door to a side room, and you get the scent of wildflowers at first, but they seem to be masking a faint odor of decay. And as you look into this room, you can see that the coffin seems to have been assembled with whatever they could get a hold of inside the house. A headboard, a dresser. They've all just been broken apart and reassembled into a coffin, and lying in the coffin is the drawn face of an older man with a shock of white hair. And it looks like an ominous premonition of Ismark's future. Just the older, more bedraggled image of Ismark lying in the coffin. And Irina says, "It didn't feel right to leave town without burying him first."
Yes, I'm so sorry for your loss. My brother is sort of he could do last rites if needed.
We have already said our goodbyes.
Right. I hate to impose, but we do also have a friend that we need to. She kind of pauses again. Barry.
Needs a burial.
Ismark will fill her in. And she nods solemnly. And she says, "Then they will go together, I suppose."
I am sorry, we do not have a coffin ready for him.
That is fine. I don't know what his religious beliefs are, so I'm not sure what he needs.
I'd like Speedy to give me an insight check real quick.
18.
18? The more Irina talks, the more you feel like you're missing something here. There's a strange feeling of deja vu, but you can't place exactly why.
His eyes scrunch a little bit, but he holds his tongue.
Anyway, I think that we should get going, and the church is all the way across town. We should get this done before nightfall.
Right. Well, we have a cart if you need.
Oh, that will help immensely. Yes, let us do that.
All right.
I can offer. Do you have linens for your friend. I can offer some and she like just sort of steps across the room, and there are bed sheets laying across a mattress. She'll pick them up and like sort of fold them and bring them over to you to wrap him.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Keffris?
And I will tell this Irina, thank you for the linens, and I'll go and I'm gonna ask Speedy if he can help me. I would ask Maybell, but she has already shown that she does not want to be anywhere near these bodies, and Speedy looks like he does not care at all. So I'm gonna go with Speedy. Or at least ask him if he would like to assist me in the wrappings and final rites.
Speed will follow.
Ismark will press a holy symbol into your hand as you pass, and when you look down at it, it's a little copper sun on a disc.
Oh. Would I recognize this symbol at all?
Oh, religion check.
I'm proficient in that. That doesn't mean I'm good. 5.
5. Great. You have no idea what this could mean. Some sort of superstitious sun thing?
Thank you. No. Just a very heartfelt thanks, and then I will go with Speedy.
As Speedy walks past and sees this, he just mutters under his breath, "Let's hope that does some good, because the gods abandoned us a while ago."
Ismark will give you a side eye, but he will not comment on that.
So are you the nobles in town? Somebody's gonna make awkward conversation.
Yeah, well, as noble as you can get in the village of Barovia.
Mhm.
I would like to accompany you to the chapel, if you wouldn't mind. And Ismark looks like he's about to protest, and she's like, I cannot hold up here forever. I'll be back before dark. And Ismark looks like he wants to say something, but he bites his tongue. And he will just walk over to the coffin and wait for Keffris and Speedy to get back and ask them to help move the coffin to the carriage.
Once we are inside of
He'll nail it shut first.
okay. Once we're inside of the carriage, myself and Speedy, and we're getting ready to lay things out.
I'll say that you guys will lay Victor in one seat inside the carriage, and then put the coffin on top of the carriage and kind of strap it down.
Okay.
There are places where you can put luggage.
That's fair. I was going to say, before we wrap him up, though, I will look at Speedy and say, is there any way that people like him can come back here? People like us? Ismark was saying that when a soul dies here, that they're stuck, that they get either reborn into a new body or go into some forsaken afterplace.
For all I know, he's right. No one escapes Barovia.
But what if they could? If they could escape Barovia?
Then so much the better for them.
Please don't tell my sister. You were right. Whatever's on the dead don't need. I'm not going to say I condone it, but if he's not going to get any use out of it later, you might as well. And I'll motion towards Victor.
I will
Just
be
leave the 2 coins. And being the ones that are underneath the sheet on his face.
I'll be as respectful as possible.
All right.
The majority of his possessions are kept inside of a sack. One very prominent thing that you might notice is his water phone, which is a bowl-shaped instrument with a handle sticking right down in the middle of the inside of the bowl, with spines along the rim of it, along with a bow that he used to use to play it, along with a few other instruments. And I will have to get back to you with everything that you find on Victor.
I'm just gonna put the water phone on top of Victor's chest, fold his arms over it. Oh wait, no, it goes up, doesn't it?
Yeah. Lay it on its side.
Lay it outside.
Unscrew the middle part so that way it can
Put it in
both...
pieces.
Whatever
you can
way we can.
like sort of you can sort of tip it so that it's like diagonally over.
I'm just gonna put the
his
bowstring
chest,
on his chest, and then there you go.
and then like fold his hands over it.
Yeah.
God, making me feel feelings. How dare you?
And I put
Tyler's
2
gonna
bolts in
hear
the body.
Whoa!
Got to make
Double
sure he
tap,
stays
bitch.
down.
What do you mean?
Spoilers.
Oh my god. Terrible.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else that you would like to do with Victor before
No.
After looting his body and then wrapping him up as respectfully as you can?
I gave him his thanks. Speedy took some of his things. And I gave the final rites. So that way when we get there, we can just dig a hole and do our best to not fuck this up.
I'm pretty sure you had a hurdy-gurdy too. All right, I'll get back to
Jesus
that later.
Christ.
He would have a goddamn hurdy-gurdy. Out of all the instruments.
He never got a chance to play it. It's very sad. All right, so everybody loads up. Coffin on top, Victor in the back. What's our modus operandi here? Irina and Ismark will probably walk together. There are 2 seats available up front, 2 seats back. How's this going? Speedy's driving.
I will sit with Maybelle inside with the body.
Well, now that it's wrapped up, Maybelle's able to stomach it a little better.
Uh-huh.
I'll be up front with Speedy.
Okay.
Just like I feel like
guys
that it's okay, you can loot a corpse moment allowed us to be able to just like we're going to sit next to each other.
And not say a word.
Nope.
Not necessarily friends, but at least comrades.
We have experienced a thing.
Oh god. Sorry, I just had
That's in the courtyard. Save it. Make a note.
We'll come back to that. So you guys make your way back up north through town, and it is a solemn procession. There isn't much talking between anybody, and it takes a good I'll say half an hour, because you have to match your speed with Irina and Ismark, who are walking. And you will eventually make your way to the outskirts of town and start heading up a hill where you will find the church, which seems to be in a similar state to the burgomaster's mansion. Atop a slight rise against the roots of the pillar stone that supports Castle Ravenloft. Oh, hey, by the way, here's a funny thing. When you look up, there is a cliff. And at the top of this cliff, there are some jagged spires. And looming above you is a castle right above the village. It literally casts a shadow over the whole village.
How is this a funny thing, voice in the sky? This is imposing!
It's funny because you haven't noticed it until now, but the mist has departed enough to give you this silhouette just sort of looming above you. And Ismark will say, "That is Castle Ravenloft."
That is where the demon lives.
Wow, we are very close to it now. Let's wrap this up and then get out.
Yes,
we may.
before we draw any notice.
Right.
Wait, what?
And Ismark is all like, "Let's go." So yes, against the roots of the pillar stone that supports Castle Ravenloft stands a gray, sagging edifice of stone and wood. This church has obviously weathered the assaults of evil for centuries on end and is worn and weary. A bell tower rises toward the back, and flickering light shines through the holes in the shingled roof. The rafters strain feebly against their load. I'm tired. Everything's great. And there's also just this enormous graveyard that fills the back of the church. It's just grave after grave after grave, centuries of dead.
Oh, this is lovely.
Ismark is going to start untying the coffin from the carriage. What will the rest of you do?
Speedy will help.
I am going to start going to a place to dig a hole, or at least 2 holes.
All right, you can circumnavigate the church and find a gate to access the graveyard, and Irina will accompany you and show you the lot that was set aside for her father. And there is a less, we'll say, fancy area where Victor can be laid to rest. But you do see plenty of fresh graves there, with some rather familiar names. Not anyone you know, of course, but like similar names to people who would come from the outside where you are from. Less Oviches and, the
Water
like.
Davian, Oluskan kind of names, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. And some of them like don't even have names on them. Just it's like adventurer.
Yeah, I'm gonna start getting to it, just digging some graves.
Yep, Irina will help you out. You guys brought a couple of shovels. I'll say 3 or 4.
I'm gonna lean over to Speedy while they're doing that. Should we be so close to the castle if it is run by a demon?
We'll be fine as long as you don't attract his attention. That's why I made you all change.
Oh. You're very smart, Speedy. Thank you.
No, I'm just cautious.
Right. What else might draw his attention? Should we change our accents?
You can try. Having Miss Irina with us kind of paints a target on our back.
Right.
God. Ismark will kind of cork an eyebrow at you as he's walking by with the coffin on his shoulder. All by himself, the strong boy.
Silme takes notice.
Silme will remember this.
But yes, Ismark will have Speedy help him move the coffin to where his lot is. And Maybelle will kind of stand next to Silme with a handkerchief over her face and be like, "Well, hopefully we won't be attracting any notice so far. It seems like the last guy got rather bored with us."
Right. Yes.
You can stop that now.
Right. Okay.
What are you doing?
I was trying to emulate that accent, but I'm not very good at it. I'd have to practice.
Oh no, it was very good. It's just it was unsettling. It didn't sound like you, Miss Silme.
Thank you. That was the point, Maybell, but thank you. Speedy, question. Tieflings. Are they around here?
If they come... Oh. There's a 5.
She just said teethlings for some reason? Like teeth?
There are many things with teeth in Barovia.
Tieflings. They're not demonic descendant, right?
Sometimes. Mostly hellish.
They can be. Either.
Of hellish
Both.
descent. They have horns, and she points to Maybell's horn.
Maybell instinctively covers it with a little squeak.
Oh, it's lovely, darling, please.
Is the first I've seen.
Right, okay, noted. Maybe a hat.
Or, the hood on your traveling clothes.
Ooh, and she kind of like turns around, like tries to see it. These have hoods. And she pops it up. Ooh.
Maybell will pop up that hood and then pull it down like a little babushka.
You look lovely, darling.
Oh, thank you. And like her horn is kind of like poking a little, like you can see a little dent where her horn is. It's a little asymmetrical.
Bless.
And Speedy, now that you have realized that she has a horn, there only seems to be one. The other side is suspiciously flat.
Is that some sort of style for where you're from?
It's not polite to ask, Speedy.
And Maybell has just gone completely beet red from being the center of attention for too long. And she's just like, I'm going to go and clean the carriage. And she turns around and totters off.
Oh, I don't know what I would do without her. Shall we?
Nods.
We head to the grave. Ooh.
All right. Well, it takes a while, probably a couple of hours, to dig 2 graves and put people to rest in there. But you are able to accomplish this. Neither Ismark or Irina shed a tear. They just kind of solemnly watch as their... well, the 2 of them will both actually shovel dirt on top of the coffin. And they both have very dour looks on their faces as they do so.
I will give the Ilmatiri last rites. Just a general... It's non-specific. I don't know this person at all, but just like you did it. I don't know.
I think
Ismark gives you kind of a sour, well, not sour, but a grave look, and says, "It is probably more appropriate than you think. This man suffered much in his life."
And most people do, and most people don't bring it up to their loved ones. But if you were able to see such a thing, then his suffering must have been great. And
it is probably what killed him in the end.
Well,
it was stress, you see.
It's far more common than you would think on where we're from, but that's neither here nor there. Bane6969, thank you so much for the follow.
Yeah.
Greybeard's not here, so while he's away, I'll rattle my medicine at you.
Oh God, why?
thank
Yes, the satisfying bong of the water being thwapped. I am okay with that.
Put that in. Oh, jeez. Sorry, what were we doing?
We're burying bodies.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Which takes a little while, and everybody's very sad about that.
Well, so Speedy's on the lookout.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's probably a good idea. Give me a perception check.
That's 25, natural 20.
Ooh, nice. That is great. That is super great. So you're keeping a weather eye on the castle, on the trees, on the town, just like you're looking for any sort of area where you could be approached without your knowing. And Greybeard is here. Aw. Sorry. We're easily distracted here, evidently. We're taking Strahd seriously. You see in the trees, up in the branches, a pair of eyes just kind of peering. And when you focus on those eyes, there's kind of that instinctive fear that comes in when you see something that looks predatory. It's fairly high up in the trees. It is a bat hanging upside down and just kind of peeking over its folded wings at you. And you remember that there are rumors of Strahd having bats as spies, as well as the wolves. Pretty much any creature within Barovia has the potential to be a spy of his. And you feel like you are being watched. And as you're kind of narrowing your eyes at this little furry flying mammal, you hear a scream coming from the church. And it's just like a wail of utter despair. And because of such a high perception check, you can hear what he's saying. It is a young man saying, "Father, please, I'm starving."
Speedy will turn to the rest of the group, and he has like surreptitiously his crossbow out, and he's loading it.
What are you doing?
Speedy,
and you guys could hear that scream as well, but you didn't exactly hear what he said.
I am going
it's
towards.
I'm gonna put a hand on Keffris' shoulder.
So, question. Does this sound like somebody in pain, or is this like crazy person screaming?
Both.
I am
Crazy
going to
people
try
are always in pain.
and go towards it. If there's somebody who's suffering, I need to find out.
I imagine as soon as you hear that scream, you start beelining towards it, and Speedy's hand comes out and right on your shoulder.
What's that?
We need to help this person, Speedy.
You'll find that there are a lot of noises here in Barovia, and the wails of madmen and people who are hurt will be of them. So, well, one, caution. If you're gonna go in there.
What do you mean in there? Into a church? Don't be ridiculous.
You hear another wail erupt from the church.
There's like a small eye roll, and his hand comes off the shoulder.
Clearly there's a man in trouble, and I'm going to continue running.
I'm gonna follow close after him. Keffris, we don't know what's going on. We don't know where we are. We must take the Keffris. I cannot run in heels. Do you mind?
That was a poor choice of footing. And just continues running.
Plap, plap, plap with your little foot-wrapped feet.
Yeah.
Miss Maybell.
She is in the carriage, cleaning.
He turns to Ismark and Irina. Could you watch that, please? And he points to the carriage.
Yes, of course. We will finish this, and Ismark will take up a shovel and start into the grave.
Crossbow over the shoulder. Speedy starts walking towards the church.
Like a
badass.
No, like someone who's just tired of the shit.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Let us see. Well, who will arrive first? I'm guessing Keffris, and then Silme and Speedy follows after you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you have to circle back around to reach the door at the front of the church, as there is no back door.
Mm-hmm.
And you are able to push open the double doors, which are you can see now are covered with similar claw marks and burn marks that you saw in the burgomaster's mansion. And when you open up the door, you can immediately see that there are a few doorways on the side. There's some sort of side rooms, and there is a church hall with pews and things, but they're all smashed and just broken to splinters. There is like beams of light coming down from the rafters, and you can see that there's a rope coming down from the belfry right over the altar, and crouched over the altar, murmuring a fervent prayer, you can see a man. And as you enter and you see this man, you hear that scream again, much louder, but from your right, behind one of those doors.
I am going to go to the non-screaming man and start just like kind of shouting, just like, what is, who's in pain? Who needs help?
And he kind of jumps as you walk in. He had his hands folded in fervent prayer in front of the altar. He's wearing the vestments of a man of the cloth. He's some sort of priest.
All right.
And he has like dark circles under his eyes. He's got a sunken face. He looks like he has had the worst time. And he says, "Oh, forgive me. The church is not open today. I am Priest Donovich. That man, he is my son. I'm afraid there is nothing I can do for him now but to pray."
What's happened to your son? I am also a member of the church. Please, if there's anything I can do to help.
He kind of looks you up and down at your torn vestments, and he says, "You seem to be an outsider, not of anything that I can recognize. I am a priest of the Morning Lord," and he will offer a hand to shake.
Follower of Ilmate.
And he will shake hands with you, but like there seems to be no hope in this man. He's completely distraught. His shoulders just sag with the weight of the burden on his shoulders, and you can hear another scream from that room, and he just flinches.
What?
He was returned to me in this state by the devil. A long time ago, a few months, a wizard came to this town, and he took all of the young and foolish boys, including my son, my Doru. He took them up to Ravenloft. They thought that they could face him, but no, it was all for naught. And now he is here, and he thirsts for blood.
Blood of what?
The living.
To eat?
Yes. You silly girl, do you not know what a vampire is? And then there's another scream that just shakes the rafters.
Do I know what a vampire?
Lightning.
Ah! Do I know what a vampire is?
Do I know what a vampire is? We didn't know.
I know what a vampire is.
I guess it's time for you guys to make some rolls. Religion or Arcana?
I'm going to choose a religion check, and hey ho, that's a natural 20.
Tonight's the night of 20s.
I rolled a 7.
Okay, great.
+5.
Keffris, you have a sudden realization that all of this speech about a devil, a demon, taking brides, you have heard stories of creatures like this, of an undead nature that thirst for human lifeblood, and prey on misery and despair. You understand fully what a vampire is. You understand fully that this devil that has beset this land is in fact a vampire, and can turn other creatures into vampires. And that is what is underneath this church right now.
So, your son has become
Fuck.
the devil's spawn.
I'm sorry, I'm a little behind. No, I don't know what a vampire is. I've heard the name.
And I'll quickly like shoot over and put my hand on Silme's shoulder and just, we are in a bad place. We are in a very
Yes.
bad place.
Yes.
It's not a devil. It's not a demon. If it were, that would probably make things, albeit a little easier.
What?
You know those stories that we would always get told about the men who could turn it into bats and smoke and would steal young ones away if they left outside after eating too many sweets late at night?
Mama Yaga?
Close. They're real. Vampires. Not the kind ones that would like try and turn us into cakes, but the mean ones that would turn us into them.
Oh. Right.
They're real. Here, apparently, I have to worry about a bite that I got from an animal, apparently, and now.
Good
Ones
news.
you get from people too.
Oh God! I hope that the woman I slapped the pies out of her hand wasn't a vampire. That would just be. Oh. Anyways.
Sorry.
Thoughts
One
for a
problem
different
at a
day.
time.
One problem at a time. Family motto. So, Center, Sister, we are so out of our league here.
Yes. Should we leave this way?
Speedy has walked up to the father. He has his crossbow out.
I think leaving sounds like a great idea.
I can do your son a mercy.
He has the eyes of like a sad basset hound, and he gives you like the most forlorn look. He says, "My boy, my dear boy,
What?
Give me a persuasion check to see how well this goes over."
Whatever happened to your son up there, he is no longer your son. He's the bastard seed of the demon, and my persuasion is... Do I have charisma? I don't have charisma. 15.
Is this a... Oh, nice.
Not
Actually, that's
bad.
very good. He crumples in on himself and says, "You're right. I thought that I was doing the right thing by praying for his deliverance. But I see now that only action can deliver my son. Please," and he will grab your shirt and say, "can you do the bravery that I cannot bring myself to do?"
Clap him on the shoulder. Nod my head.
And he will full on break down. This is a grown man crying very real tears for his boy. And he will just crumple in on himself, go down to his knees and say, "My boy, my poor boy." And there are more screams from below.
Silme will go over to him and try to comfort him.
Where is your son? You are far enough away from the mic that it is not picking it up.
Sorry.
He will reach into his robes and pull out an iron key, and he will press it into Silme's hand, who is now crouched next to him, trying to comfort him, and say, "There is a trap door in the far room. This key will open the padlock. He is in the cellar."
Right. I'm so sorry for your loss.
"Please, do it. Do it now before I lose my nerve."
Right. Speedy, let's go. She stands up and walks.
I will follow my sister gladly.
Are we really going to do this? Once we're out of earshot, are we really going to kill this boy?
It is a mercy.
He's not a boy anymore. He's something
Yeah.
Okay.
else.
If this were to ever happen to me, I would ask you to do the same.
If it happened while we were around and I was feeling mostly skittish, I would do it without second hesitation. I'm not going to lie. You don't even have to ask.
Wait, is there no cure for this? There is nothing we can do except for murder this child.
Yeah, there's just like the cock of a crossbow.
Sister,
You're still far away again.
Speedy opens up that door and
No. Oh.
Still no?
Oh, no, you're good. We didn't open the door yet.
We're just talking real
Oh,
quick before we go
sorry.
in.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll wait my turn.
Look, he's not a boy anymore. He's something different. He's something changed. The whole vampire thing really puts a lot into perspective about this place. Other than the fact that we're trapped here, that seems a little drastic. But if that is the case, if this vampire got to this boy, he's not the boy that the father knew. He's hardly a boy at all. He seems more like, well, a wailing monster that lives underneath the floorboards.
That is punctuated by another scream.
We don't have a candle to lead us down the hallways to check all the closets to make sure that they're clear. Because that's us now. That's us while we're here. We have to be that for these people. If they're so desperate that they're willing to trade their children for pies that they eat off the street, they need something. That can be us.
Kill a vampire.
Survival check. Oh, +5 is 12. You're far enough
How
away.
to kill a
Yeah,
how
there you go.
to kill a vampire?
Mm-hmm.
You have heard the classic stake through the heart will do it. You have heard that they cannot enter a home without permission. And you know that they cannot cross running water. Otherwise, good old-fashioned crossbow bolts, swords, it'll just take a little longer. They're resilient. They have a tendency to come back. They can take a lot of punishment.
Mm. It will be hard.
The good things in life aren't easy. And if this is putting somebody to rest, this is the good in their life.
Right. But what am I to do?
You have the key. You can open up the door for us, can't you?
Well, yes, of course.
And if we get bitten, lock up after us, will you?
Okay, this got really dark really quick, and I'm having a moment. I need a moment.
I'm just trying to be real. Look, and I'll hug my sister and say, it's going to be fine. We're going to be fine. I got bit by a wolf today. We went through a house. That ceiling started turning into swinging blades. We put ghost children to rest. A sad vampire underneath the floorboards. Ridiculous, yes, but doable.
I want to stop you there, younger Malrezka.
I'm older.
Oh, older Malrezka. This isn't a sad vampire. This is a ravenous vampire who's been starved for months.
Look, just because you're hungry doesn't mean you can't be sad.
And he sure does sound sad. Like it's just keening wails, like pleading with his father to let him out.
I am going to hand my sister a javelin and say, if it's coming up the stairs, poke it away with this, and then shut the door and lock it behind you, okay?
Right. Okay. Yeah. We can do this. We can do this. Right, Speedy?
He just looks at you.
She's like giving him the please give me something. I need you to say something face.
Last one out locks the door. Walks down the stairs.
Right. Whew. I have pants on. And she starts walking down the stairs.
Oh, first of all, you have to open up the door.
We open
and
the
then
door.
Then there's a padlocked trapdoor that you will unlock,
Mm.
and then you open it, and then going down the stairs. Please give me a marching order.
I will go first, as I am the most adamant about putting this boy to rest.
Second.
Third.
All right. As soon as the key goes into the padlock, you feel something change about the screams and wails. And then as soon as the door creaks open, the screams and wails stop. And you make your way slowly down the stairs. I'm going to need everybody to make a perception check.
Hey, not so bad.
14. Yes.
That's a 10.
I rolled a 1.
Super great. All right. As you make your way down the stairs, there's kind of a creaking around you. Every now and then the building settles and a little bit of dirt falls from the ceiling. Looking down, you can see that the room is very dark. And it seems to fill the entirety of the church. Like everywhere that there's a wall of the church, it has been dug down, and there are pillars almost every 5 feet holding up the church above this cellar. And there's just a really damp smell of earth. And at first you can't really hear anything, but kind of echoing around this basement, you can hear little mutters from here and there, just like. And Keffris is going first.
I have 60-foot dark vision, if it helps.
Great. You
Looking
see
into this space.
a whole lot of nothing. There's just like a grid of pillars, and he could be behind any one of them.
I am just gonna have my maul out. walking steadily deeper into this chamber. I'm prepped in case, like, I am doing my best to watch out in case anything fucks with me, but...
And that muttering continues, just sort of echoing around the cellar. You can't figure out exactly where it's coming from until you hear, like, almost right in your ear, I can smell you. And you realize that he's right above you. You look up and there is the figure of a hunched, skinny man who is just clawed to the ceiling, with his head turned almost completely around, shining in the light, and he will drop on you. Let us see if he's any good at this. An 11 probably doesn't hit you.
No, but it hit my emotional receptors, and I don't like this at all.
Yeah, you jump back at the last second. He will land on the ground, and he is moving in almost like an insectoid spider-like way, just kind of crouched with his limbs akimbo. Everybody should roll initiative.
So as right before that happens, Silme is gonna lean up to Speedy and she's gonna be like, "What if he sent us down here to feed his son? Oh my god!"
Uh-huh.
I got
11.
11 for Silme,
17.
17 for Keffris,
26.
Woo!
26
My boy!
for Speedy.
Oh, wait. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Sorry, I miscounted.
Wow.
I have
Still
a plus
leave-
6
still leave-
initiative.
Still living up to his name. That's our Speedy. And he rolled a 2 on the die, so he's actually going to be fairly low.
Stalker, baby.
Ignore what I am doing right now.
Okay.
Done. Guys,
What are we
did you
doing?
know that you could go to bit.ly/adventure merch and find yourself in one of these The Dragons Were the Real Friends We Made Along the Way pixel tees. You can possibly get a mug. There's all sorts of cool stuff that you can get at bit.ly/adventure merch. We can still keep riffing on this.
Sort these out. I have started using sheets to track initiative.
Oh.
Just because you can tell it to sort by a certain value. If I can find the... there we go. Sort range. Z to A. Sort. All right. It is done. So at the top of the round, we have Speedy, who has just watched a vampire spawn drop down from the ceiling and nearly dig his claws into Keffris, who has narrowly escaped.
The crossbow is out. It's pointed and going rat-tat-tat.
All right. And just before the bolts leave the crossbow, you can see his face turn towards you and the eyes flash.
Oh, dear. 19 to hit.
19 will hit.
Okay. Second attack. 30, 20 to hit.
Yeah.
And then bonus action, fire the crossbow a third time. The 16.
16 will hit.
Cool. Oh, pitiful. 10, 11, 20 damage of piercing.
20 damage? All
20
right.
piercing.
20 piercing damage. All right. 3 crossbow bolts will sink into him in just a little line, just like one in his cheek, one in his shoulder, one in his arm. And he recoils and hisses at you. And now it is Keffris.
All right. Keffris is going to... Thank you, Pro Restarter, for the raid. He is going to enter into a rage because he just had a thing hop down on him from the roof and hiss at him. So instinctually, he is going to hiss back at it as he pulls out his maul and he is going to use a reckless attack to then swing down on thank you, Kyle with an N for the sub. Is going to swing down with his maul at this creature in the hopes of smashing them really good. So that is going to be a 24 to hit.
That'll hit.
All right, so I get 2d6 regular damage, and then I also get 1d6 radiant damage when I hit a thing on the first of my turns while I am raging. So let's see how this goes. So that is going to be 9 points of bludgeoning damage, 1 point of radiant damage, and then I don't know where rage goes. If that just counts as the standard. So
It's just a +2, yeah.
okay, so yeah, it would be a total of 11 points bludgeoning and then 1 point radiant.
Okay.
As I just snarl at this creature and grip my maul with my new sticky hands. And I'll smash.
Silme, you see the change in your brother almost immediately, and the light will catch your brother's eyes, and they will flash very much in the same way that the vampire's eyes have. And what does the radiant damage look like coming from your maul?
So basically, the wraps on my arms begin to glow this very dull red. That looks kind of like an old blood, if that could be described as a color. And then you have that same glowing effect on the end of the maul as it swings in, almost like there is a kind of air pressure that's being split away from the end of the maul into this reddish hue as it sinks in. It's not very bright because it's only 1 point of radiant damage, but it's still there.
Yep, it's noticeable to everyone in the room, especially the vampire spawn, because he does not like that at all. Whilst he is hissing at Speedy, Keffris's maul comes down and catches him right between the shoulders. And he gives like a pitiful squeak as he's just kind of splayed out onto the ground. And I described him before as like a spider, and it's very much like a spider now because he's just been squashed and his limbs are out. But he will get almost immediately back up to his feet. Now it is Silme's turn.
How scary does this guy look in terms of like super scary?
So like shining eyes. You can see his teeth. His hair is like almost the scariest part about him.
Cool. She's going to squeal to Speedy, fire or ice!
Kill it with fire!
Cool. Is it in a line with any of my allies? Or can I move so that it is not?
You can move. And you kind of have to like duck between pillars to get a good line of sight on him. But since you are not close enough to provoke opportunity attacks, then you are free to move.
Cool. I'm gonna do that, and Silme's gonna reach in her bag, and she's gonna pull out a shining red thing, and she's gonna flick it up in the air. It's a dragon scale, and just place her hands in front of her and say a magic word and cast the Scorcher, Agonizar's Scorcher.
Is the magic word Hadouken?
It is Hadouken.
Hadouken!
So he needs to make a dex save.
All right, he will do that.
Oh, he's not super great, but he is very dexterous.
10 probably doesn't make it, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Hey, remember when that time when we went down in the cellar and kicked a vampire into the corner and just wailed on him? Go ahead. Roll me some damage.
Okay, he takes 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 points of fire damage.
All right. He shrieks as he erupts into flame. This seems to be hurting him a lot more than the maul on its own or the bolts that are still sticking out of him.
Solid. And Silme does scream a little bit as she's doing this. It's at the beginning. It sounds like maybe a little bit of like a war cry, but it definitely ends with a
And Speedy, you have expressed before that you do not care whether or not she is casting magic or trying to hide it, but at this moment there is no question. Like, in the darkness, she has just thrown fire at the vampire.
And she will say, in a, you know, in her own way, she's gonna say, "Don't tell Keffris."
What?
All right. Now it is the vampire's turn, and he is going to retaliate.
Against who?
Against Keffris, of course. Because he gets to roll with advantage because of that reckless attack, you silly.
I'm so reckless.
He's so reckless. How long does that last? Until the end of the turn, or is that just the first attack?
No, it's until the end of the turn. So any attacks made against Keffris will have advantage until his next turn.
That's super great for a thing that has multi-attack.
Only one attack, I'm sure.
I think it's any, isn't it?
Yeah, it's any attack. So even if it was multiple creatures, they would all have advantage.
Does a 17 hit?
Totally.
Awesome. All right, so you are going to take 2d4 slashing damage. +3. So 10 slashing damage.
Reduced to 5 because raging.
He will attack it. He will attack you again. 17 on the die is definitely going to hit. So here comes more damage. All right, that's 7 slashing damage.
Okay.
And what this looks like is that he just comes at you and with his claws and just like, and he will come back with his claws up next to his face, and you can see him licking his claws to taste the blood that was left there.
How dare.
And now it's Speedy's turn.
Gonna reload my crossbow. Oh god, guys, what are we doing? Anyway.
Our best, Speedy. Our
3
best.
attacks. Here we go. So first attack is a natural 18. Does that hit?
Oh, certainly.
Okay. Second attack is a 15 natural. That hits, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then a 17 total will hit, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. First attack. Oop. And I'll do this. Wow. 3, 5, 6, and 9 is 15 points of piercing.
Nice. Once again, more bolts sprout from his shoulder. And he flinches, but he does not refrain from sucking the blood off of his fingers.
Gross. Gross. Gross.
And now it's Keffris.
I am going to reckless attack again, and this time, while he's like licking his fingers, I kind of want to do a body check with the length of my maul, so that way he's kind of like, he opens himself up a little bit more, and I can do a more widespread attack where I bring my maul over my head and then smash down Gallagher style.
Sure.
So I'm gonna try it. Oh, cool. Okay, so that's a 23 to hit.
Definitely hits.
Okay. So that is going to be... sorry. 12 points, or no, 13 points of bludgeoning damage and 7 points of radiant damage.
Ooh, nice. This radiant damage seems to be doing a number on him.
And now that I got max radiant damage, it is a much brighter red glow as it comes down.
Mm-hmm. Like, the maul is certainly leaving dents, but the radiant damage makes his skin blister and pull away from the point of impact, and he hisses in response.
Yeah, it's just a match of hisses back and forth between the two.
They're having a hissy fit. Silme, it is now your turn.
So Silme's only ever tried that spell once, because it's a very big spell. So she kind of is like, oh, shit! I don't know what else to do. And she's gonna try and throw a frostbite on him. So he needs to make a Constitution saving throw.
He will. This one might be better. A 19 probably makes it.
That for sure makes it. Nothing happens. So
All right.
I try to throw out ice, and it's just like, poof. She's like, it goes back in her bag.
There's a cold breeze that wafts over everyone. Doru having taken this radiant damage, you can see the real fear of survival come into his eyes, and he is going to try and run away from you. And I need everyone adjacent to him to make a opportunity attack. And he will run by Speedy. So Speedy can also make an opportunity attack.
Just quickly pull out my dagger.
18.
18 hits.
Yep.
17.
17 also hits.
Hey.
13 points of bludgeoning, and then 3 points of radiant.
Oh no. 6, 7, 9 points of slashing.
Okay. He is looking real bad. Where his skin breaks, you can see the muscle and bone underneath, but it is dry. His skin, rather than breaking like normal flesh should, just kind of cracks like parched earth. And he will scramble between the two of you, taking blows from each, and he will run up the stairs.
Uh-oh.
What'd you say, LB?
We closed the door, right? I was the last one in. Whoops.
Well, he can't have gotten too far. Oh, he double moved, right?
He
Did
did.
he run past me too?
You had moved off to the side in
Yeah.
order to get a better.
Okay, cool.
That places Speedy at the top of the round.
Speedy pivots on his heel and starts running up the stairs. Do I see him at like 30 feet? Like when I'm up the stairs?
He is pretty darn quick. He has already made it up the stairs by the time you get up there. And the way that you saw him do this, he half ran on the wall going up there.
Sorry, but I don't see him then, so I have to use my next 30 to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll do that.
And after you are inside the church, and you are able to see he is in the process of running towards his father, who is recoiling in horror. And I'm going to say it's going to take each of you a double move to get up there anyway, so we'll just pick up again at the top of the round.
I was going to say, if he can like half run on walls, is there any way I can half run on walls with my climb speed?
That's 100% what you do getting up there, but we're just kind of skipping one round ahead.
All right.
In order to get to the point where everybody is up there and doing stuff.
I want to be
doing
right
things
on him if possible.
But unfortunately, that does give him enough time to move his remaining 30 feet and catch up with his father before anybody gets a chance to pop off a shot on him. Alrighty, and that is a grapple, and all right, that's a miss on the bite. And you can hear him saying, "Father, I'm starving!" And he grips his father and drops him to the floor, and you can see his teeth gnashing inches from his father's neck, as Donovich just holds his face, kind of screaming and sobbing at the same time. Now that's Speedy. Top of the round.
Okay, that's okay. This is fine. Father, are they both prone?
They are both prone.
Great. You hear the clatter of a crossbow as Speedy pulls out a short sword and a dagger. He like backhands the dagger.
Mm-hmm.
Just runs up to the vampire and starts wailing on him. That's a natural 20.
Ooh, nice.
Natural 19.
Ooh, nice.
Calum dice, you're gonna be the new like Speedy dice. That's another natural 20.
Damn.
Damn, Daniel.
Ghost is in Pratt. Wait, wrong game.
So first is
So is this sword, dagger, dagger, or sword,
It's
dagger? Or...
sword, dagger.
Okay, that's it. I would like to see some damage, please.
8, 11, 34, 4, 5, 8, 34, 39, 50. Is that right? 39?
39.
A mix of slashing and piercing?
Oh,
I got a
let's see.
10. So I got a 10. A 10, an 8. Hold on, I gotta calculate this out. I'm sorry, guys. Plus 8 plus, how much is that? 5 plus 32.
32.
Yeah.
Okay. You're just taking like repeated hacks and slashes out of his body, like chunks are literally falling off of him. But he ignores you in favor of getting at least one taste of that sweet, sweet drink.
Of that sweet, sweet dad
And
flesh.
that sweet, sweet dad flesh. And now it is Keffris.
I am going to rush forward, still raging, and I am going to lay some smackdown if I possibly can, using a reckless attack to kind of golf swing. Or I won't even need to use reckless. I'm just going to rush up and try and golf swing this dude off of the father because he's still prone, pinned on top of him, right? Right?
Yes. Is this an attack?
It
or
is.
Is this a shove?
This is an attack. I am just trying to hit him really effing hard in the hopes that maybe, just maybe, it'll be enough to lay some good old smackdown. So that's going to be a 19 to hit.
That'll hit.
Okay, let's go for broke. That is going to be 9 points of bludgeoning damage and then 4 points of radiant damage.
All right. You can hear him hissing under his breath. You may not be quite, cognizant of this, but everyone else certainly can. He's just one taste. And your maul just connects with the side of him, and he goes flying across the room and crunches against a destroyed pew, and slumps to the ground. His back clearly broken, and his mouth is open, like just agape, his eyes wide, and he twitches twice and stops rigid. where he is.
In a very almost familiar way, Keffris begins approaching it, and you guys would just hear, "So hungry." Begins making his way towards it.
Speedy's
Still
gonna
raging.
jump on Keffris's back and try to like chokehold him.
Keffris, no, Keffris, look at me. Hi, Silme. Hi, Keffris. I know how to do magic.
And at that, the
I've been
rage
practicing.
drops just immediately. Just, you
Huh.
what?
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 Are you okay? You blacked out again?
And that is where we're going to end tonight.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Wings. Thank you so much for putting on this game. Oh my god. I love Curse of Strahd. Fuck the pie lady. All of this is great. I am so excited. So, Wings, where can we find you? What do you do?
I am Wings, also known as Danae Keener. You can find me at DanaeKeener.com. I do nerdy drawings, and you can find them there. I also run Curse of Strahd on Tuesdays, and you can also find me as Coriander, the Eldrin Paladin, on Mondays here on this Twitch channel.
Yes. And RJ, where can we find you? What do you do?
Oh, hey, I'm RJ here on the channel. I played Speedy, our ranger, but you can catch me at RJustice282 on Twitter and Twitch, where I tweet about the nerdy things in my life, and on Monday as Calum during the homebrew campaign, the Shatterkai cleric, who has become a real... and on Saturdays on Pro Restarter's stream as G3 the robot.
Sunday, sweetie. Sunday.
No, Sunday, sorry.
You guys are the best. LB, where can we find you? What do you do?
Hi, I'm LBHackEmUp. You can find me here Mondays and Tuesdays. Mondays I play Gwen, the Halfling Barbarian, and I will be playing Silme for now on Tuesdays. And then this week on Wednesday, I will be DMing on this channel. We are doing a little twist on the Four Keeps, Four Kids saga, where we'll be playing as animals, and I will be DMing it. And then you can also find me on Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Encounter Roleplay's channel. We will be ending our Young Heroes of Fate game. And then directly after that, with RJ, I will be on Pro Restarter's channel. We are playing the Cypher system. And I am playing a really creepy character that likes to talk about random stuff and ask dead people what their favorite color was and stuff like that. And then next week, I will be, instead of doing Young Heroes of Fate, we are doing a new system on Encounter Roleplay's channel, and I will be joined by the amazing, the wonderful Greybeard. We are going to be doing an Apocalypse World game, and I'm enjoying my character because she's kind of special. That's all I'll say.
All right, and if you have made it this far and you don't know who I am already, hey fella, how's it going? I am the Indoor Adventurer, and you can find me here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and coming up here Thursday. That's right, 4 nights in a week, all during the weekdays, here on Indoor Adventures. Monday, I DM for our homebrew campaign, which all of these wonderful people have agreed to be in. Tuesday, I get to play here. Wednesdays, we have what we like to call one-shot Wednesdays, where members of the community can either run a game that I will play in, or I will run a game in a different setting or system than we are typically used to, which is just very fun for people who are looking to try out something new. I know that in May, I believe May 8th, we are going to be returning to our urban fantasy noir setting, which we have dubbed the Looming 20s. So if you are a fan of our Looming 20s series with myself, Danae, Greybeard, Jen, also known as Laughmaker D&D / Koseki Sigma. I don't know how to pronounce her. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Kos, as well as our dear friend Satan, as a great place to come by and hang out with us there. And then Thursdays, starting in May, myself, Cyberwolf, Kyle with an N, my good buddy Reeves, and also Where Is My Dingus, aka Dingo, are all going to be joining us for a Saltmarsh game that I am very excited to run because clearly I can't get enough of nautical themes in my D&D campaigns. I know boat words. I don't. And if you watch Monday and then Thursdays, you will know how little I know boat words, but can bullshit my way through it. With that in mind, we are going to be going into our Patreon-supported podcast called Nights in the Courtyard. So if you are interested in possibly being a supporter of that, I have dropped a link to the Patreon. If you are doing any of the listenings for audiocasts or anything, you can find a link to our Patreon below in the description of this video. But with that, guys, this was a fun game, and I'm glad we get to play Dungeons and Dragons together. And we will see all of you folks next time. All right, everybody. Bye-bye!